everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am actually doing the Scribble challenge with Jazz's Arty Games app. This is a pretty cool app and I really wanted to start doing it again. So here is the Scribble. Now to start off this video I actually decided to do a few little sketches just to plan out what I might draw. So I copied the Scribble down into 4 different ones and then I decided to add some little sketches over the top with my pencil. The first idea that came to me was a young kid holding a potted plant. Now, the reason for this was because it did look a lot like a leaf. However, I also wanted to add a little bit of spring into this drawing, the first sketch, because spring is actually starting here in Australia and I'm actually pretty excited to be starting a little garden that I'll be growing some little vegetables and stuff in. So yeah, actually I kind of thought about that while drawing that sketch. The next sketch I decided to do was a little froglet type thing. You know, that sort of like almost a frog but still tiny bit tadpole. I actually decided to do that because the Scribble also kind of looked a bit like a leg. After that I decided to do a little swan and then a little elephant as well, just because I needed to fill the page and figure out if I wanted to draw anything else. However, I decided to go back to my original idea just because it was a little bit more complex and I thought it would be more interesting. So I scanned the sketch into my computer and then fixed up some little parts here and there and then printed it out on a larger piece of paper, which I then went over and refined. After that I decided to trace it onto some expressive blending card, which is what I'm using for this artwork today. Now of course I used my brush pen to sort of draw in the little scribble first, and that's because I wanted to make sure that that scribble was accurate to the original. After that I went into the details of the little character and basically just refined his looks. Now for this character I actually decided to draw a male, and that's mainly because a lot of the time I do draw females and I feel like it's a little bit of a downfall for me, so I actually want to get out and try different stuff. So yeah, I actually decided to draw a young boy. Now, the story for this illustration is basically spring is starting in his area and he is the son of a mother who absolutely loves gardening, so of course he's getting into it as well, and he is helping his mum set up the garden. I just thought it would be a cute story to go with this illustration because sometimes I do like to add a little bit of a backstory or, you know, a little bit about the character that I'm actually drawing, because I feel like it makes it more interesting to me and I feel like I'm more connected with it, if that makes sense. So I basically just went over all the line art with my multiliners just to get it all nice and started, and then after that I went in with my Gas and Fude pen to do some more thicker, bolder outlines. Now I'm not doing thicker outlines all over the drawing, mainly around the outside and some little details which I wanted to stand out more. And I also wanted to add more thicker outlines so that I could sort of camouflage that scribble and make sure it looks almost like it doesn't even look like a Scribble challenge. Because I feel like when I do a Scribble challenge, I kind of don't want it to look like a Scribble challenge. I just want it to look like a cute illustration. So yeah. After I got all the line art down for how I wanted it, I decided to start thinking about the colours. Now of course I'm using my Copic markers in this illustration because I love them and they're my favourite medium. And yeah, I actually decided I wanted to do a lot of warm, sort of nice spring kind of colours. Now I decided to give him blonde hair just because I think that's really cute on a kid, and yeah, I actually decided to give him green eyes. When going into the skin, I really like to use a bit of a purple layer in the shadows, and that's just to give it a nice little undertone that shows through the skin colours a little bit and gives it a little bit more dimension. I also added a little bit of really light pink to his nose and his cheeks and his ears, just to give a little bit of a lively look and, you know, make it look really nice. After that, I went in with the leaves, and I used a mixture of apple green, new leaf, malachite, and it was another one, but I can't exactly think of what it was. I can't remember. But yeah, I actually used a lot of them to try and get a nice grassy colour for the leaves. After that, I went in with the pot that the plant is sitting in, and I kind of wanted to give it a slight terracotta look. However, I don't really have a marker that is terracotta coloured, so I decided to go in with a layer of honey at first, and then I went over that with a bit of dark suntan, and then a little bit of brown over the top for the shadows. Now, to keep this in a nice spring sort of fashion, I decided to go with more warmer colours. So I actually gave him a very light purple jumper, but it's sort of more on the pinky side of purple. And the colours I used for that was heath and lavender. Now I went over with a few layers just to try and make it a nice even coat of colour, and then I decided to go in with the hat. Now I wanted to give him a blue hat, however I was trying to keep this on the warm side of things, so I actually used a blue violet instead of blue, and it is blue, but I just tried to keep it on the sort of warmer side of blue instead of like the cooler green blue. Now with the shading of his jacket, I decided to go in with a nice cell shading style, which would be really nice and sort of simplistic, but also a little bit dynamic looking. After that, I masked off the area, leaving a nice white outline around the whole character, and then I went in with my airbrush to just try and do a little bit of a rough bokeh sort of background. Now I just did some little airbrush circle spot things in some greens, yellows, pinks, and that kind of thing. And that just gave it a nice little pop of colour around the outside and made it look more finalised and complete. Now peeling off the clear contact did have some little issues. When I first masked off the area, it did rip the paper a little bit, so you can sort of see that on the parts where I've airbrushed. However, it can't always be perfect, and you know what? I think I really like this illustration and how it's turned out. Once I peeled off all of that masking stuff, I actually went over just some of the black parts just to fix up some of the bits where it was peeled off a little bit. And yeah, this artwork was mostly done. Now, I know this is a more simplistic artwork, however, I think for a Scribble challenge, it doesn't really feel like a Scribble challenge and it just looks like a nice little drawing. So personally, I think I succeeded. Please let me know what you think below, if I succeeded or failed, or what you think of this illustration, and if you're going to try it for yourself. I will leave a link in the description for Jazz's Arty Games app, and yeah, I hope you guys all have a lovely day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone!